Well, another one bites the dust here in the Pittsburgh media newspaper world. That's right, award-winning editorial cartoonist, Pulitzer Prize finalist, Rob Rogers has been terminated from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. That's right, another one bites the dust, another editorial disagreement, another editorialist fired as newspapers in the Pittsburgh area become more and more conservative. And this one really shocked me. This guy has been with the Post-Gazette for 25 years. Woo. Who knows? Maybe Charlie Deitch will hire him with his new alt weekly. The two ousted editorialists could join forces, and who knows? Maybe they can shake some things up. Does this change your opinion of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette? Will it change where your money goes? Will you now unsubscribe? Do you feel almost unable to unsubscribe, being that they are the only physical newspaper left in the city of Pittsburgh? This is River Talk. It's Friday evening, 6 p.m., new time, same old show, now weekly, broadcasting from Mr. Small's Theater. I'm Brian Crawford on the River's Edge Radio Network. You can listen to local music 24 hours a day at riversedgepgh.com. As always, on the Saturday, now Friday show, I'm joined by my good friend Jay Cooper. Jay, how are you today?
Right on. I'm good, Brian. How you been?
I'm good. I'm a little shocked to find out about this firing with the Post-Gazette. I shouldn't say I'm shocked. I could see it coming because they weren't posting his cartoons.
Well, how long has it been since they haven't been posting them?
It's been since May. So
Woo.
They stopped posting his cartoons towards the end of May, and he had posted a tweet on Twitter, and that seems to be where a lot of these people are going, whether it be Twitter or Facebook, and letting the world know about their firings. He went to Twitter and he said in a tweet, sad to report this update today after 25 years as the editorial cartoonist for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, I was fired. So he was fired as that newspaper, which has historically been considered the more conservative newspaper in Pittsburgh. I'm sorry, the more liberal newspaper in Pittsburgh, the Tribune Review being considered the more conservative. They were considered the more progressive liberal at the Post-Gazette. Well, there were always some questions about that. Some issues the Tribune Review actually tended to lean more liberal, even though most people don't realize that because they just buy what they've been told. And in some areas, the Post-Gazette had leaned more conservative. But they're really going in a much harder right-leaning stance at the Post-Gazette. It's definitely changing, and it's going more conservative. And I don't feel that necessarily reflects the values of the city of Pittsburgh, as Pittsburgh as a city tends to become more and more progressive. We had in the recent midterm elections in the Democratic Party several Democratic socialists winning elections, unseating longtime incumbents here in the city and around the city as well.
Okay.
So the city seems to be moving more towards the left, but the newspaper industry, both in the city paper and in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, is leaning more towards the right.
All right. Okay, for those who aren't familiar with this gentleman, who's been with the paper, you said 25 years?
25 years.
Okay.
And then fired.
Yeah.
Done. Ousted.
So was he the kind, because it's been a while since I've read the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, was he the kind that wrote like...
He didn't write for the Post-Gazette.
not right, but he drew
political commentary a lot of times.
On the daily, or was it like weekly?
He was on about 5 days a week.
5 days? Okay, all right.
Yeah, he was on about 5 days a week, and he now has not been on for quite some time, actually. And it's crazy to see these people get fired. And that's one thing that I guess I take a personal dissatisfaction in the way that these newspaper companies are handling the situation, especially in the Post-Gazette firing of their cartoonist. I take exception with that because I like to see an organization or a media company that welcomes all sides and all perspectives. Mm-hmm. For example, I'm somebody who, over the years, has become more and more progressive and more liberal, but I would love if we had a conservative talk radio host involved in this station, because I like to bring diversity of viewpoints and diversity of ideas on a network, and I think that's something that should be celebrated, not shunned. So as the editorial board for the Post-Gazette becomes more conservative, I think it's really distressing that they would fire a cartoonist because he shares a different political persuasion.
Okay.
That bothers me.
And that was the question I was going to throw, was that because could that have been what led to him being let go?
Oh, it absolutely was. There's no question about it. And that's exactly why Charlie Deitch was let go as the editor for the city paper. Charlie Deitch, who will be in studio today with an announcement of a new alt weekly that he is going to be putting out for the city of Pittsburgh, and a grassroots crowdfunding campaign that he has underway. He's going to talk about that and how you can support that alternative alt weekly. He's going to be in the studio at about 6:30.
Okay.
So big news. This was shocking with the cartoonist. I want to hear your thoughts. You can text us at 412-4072-PGH. That's 412-407-2744. You can message me, tweet at me at RiverTalkPGH, or you can message us in the Facebook Live feed, and that is at Rivers Edge PGH on Facebook. Or you can actually message us in the website chat at riversedgepgh.com/live, and you can watch the show there as well. Are you a subscriber of the Post-Gazette, Jay?
I have not been a subscriber to any newspaper in a long time. I remember we used to get them all the time at the house in the green bag. I'm not sure if people still do that.
Yeah, they do. That's for the Post-Gazette. Yeah, the Post-Gazette was always in green, and the Tribune Review was always in red.
Yeah. I guess because with the use of technology, I mean, whenever I do read the news, I either look at it up on my phone or on my tablet. So I don't subscribe, but I do read the news from time to time online. So
it's
no longer paper. Everything is swiping now.
Well, that's the thing, is I do subscribe to the Post-Gazette, but I do so via the digital app. I have a really nice app on my tablet, and it's great because you could flip through the newspaper as if you're reading it, click an individual link, and then that link will open up into a text document where you can then read all of the information that's on that text document, which is nice, and it makes it much easier to read on a tablet. I feel almost trapped by this situation with the Post-Gazette now that the Tribune Review has gone to an all-digital format, and sorry, I love some of the writers at the Tribune Review, and a lot of their smaller community papers are great. Erica, who covers the Millville area, she's fantastic, but the content in the online Pittsburgh Tribune Review is very much lacking. The information, it's not nearly as much information as you used to get, and even back in the day, I felt like the Tribune Review was more sourced through Associated Press, through the Wall Street Journal, whereas the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, I felt, had a lot more local writers, and they were really into the local scene in a much bigger way. That's what I got out of it.
So you felt like the Tribune was basically just piggybacking off other people's news and then making it their news on the...
No, they had some of their own writers, and their writers were very, very good, but I felt like there was much more sourced material in the Tribune Review than there was the Post-Gazette. That was my observation as somebody who had subscribed to both papers at one point, and I would read both papers every day. Yeah, I really find it sad that we're down to one, because now there isn't another option. Sure, there is the online Trib, sure, there's blogs and things like that, but as far as an actual physical paper that you hold up, since the Tribune Review retreated back into Westmoreland County and got rid of their print edition, you have one print paper in town, that's the Post-Gazette. You can't take your money elsewhere because there is nowhere else to go.
Wow.
So you're stuck with it. So I feel like we're trapped. I want to hear from the audience out there. Again, 412-407-2PGH if you're around, or if you want to message on the Facebook chat. Are you a subscriber of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette? And are you planning to keep that subscription? Will you continue to pick up the city paper, look through the events, read through the articles? Is that something that you still plan to do? I know we here at the Rivers Edge have an alternative. Go to the bands and artists page at riversedgepgh.com, and you can find out all sorts of local events going on there as well.
There you go.
So would this be something that would change your mind? If you were, where do you stand politically, Jay? Do you have a political stance?
I do not.
You do not?
I do not.
So a paper switching from more progressive, liberal, as far as editorial goes, to a more conservative route that would not sway you either way as to whether you would pick up the paper. What about firing someone over their political views?
I think that's wrong.
That's where I think a lot of people will stand on the issue. I feel like even the conservative listeners out there, I feel like they could stand by the idea that somebody shouldn't be fired for basically doing their job. So this guy's hired to give you his opinions on politics.
Right.
And then he was fired for giving his opinion on politics. And I have a problem with that. I don't think you should fire somebody that you for doing the job that you hired them to do.
Yeah, that does sound weird, don't it?
It's because it's because they want to push a message, and he was on the chopping block because he did not fit that message. 412-407-2PGH at River Talk PGH on the Twitter.
Yeah, call in, man. We rarely get callers.
Well, we got texts today. We're not set up for calling right now.
All right,
but we can
then
take your texts.
Let's get a text.
And you can also tweet us again at River Talk PGH or
message us live.
Comedy. So Jay, you have we're gonna do the Cooper's Corner early today.
Yes. Because
we've got Charlie Deitch. He's on his way in. He's going to be with us at 6:30. But we do have this great story for the Cooper's Corner. I'm really excited about this one. I think this
you
is
know
a
what?
great
And
one.
I'm just going to dive right in. I'm not even going to do the song or anything. I'm just going to go right into it because I find this very interesting, and I'm glad that this happened this week so I can talk about it. Because everybody's talking about it on Facebook and on Twitter and Instagram. It's hilarious. American Greetings, who most of you are well aware of, the ones who provide us with the wonderful, greeting cards that we get, birthdays, holidays.
Usually they're
stuff
like the cheaper ones too. Like you've got the Hallmark.
Right, Hallmark
cards,
is
and
good.
then you've got American Greetings, which is for people like me who are too poor for the Hallmark.
Right.
But a lot of times
those who
they're
can
just
afford
as
the
good,
drugstore
right?
prices.
They're just as good.
Yeah,
usually.
they are just as good. Yeah. So American Greetings unfortunately had to apologize for a controversial Father's Day card. And what they said was it was intended to be playful, a playful ode to dads just days before the holiday. I thought it was cute. The card is the card is funny. You have it posted up?
Yeah, we'll get it. Explain the card.
All right. Well, the card featured a black couple on the cover. All right. Kissing with the word saying baby daddy. That's what's becoming the big issue, is because it says baby daddy on the outside of the cover, and because it's a black couple and it's stamped across the front. And inside, it read more of a typical, Father's Day card, praising the man for being a wonderful father and a husband and all that kind of stuff. But someone took offense to that.
Of course.
Yeah. So a woman by the name of Takesha Saunders, who is from Dallas, Texas, she picked up the card, took a picture of it, and she went to Twitter on it. And that's when it all started. Upon seeing the card in her local Target, and that's where it's at. This is where you can find them, at the Targets. So she took to Twitter and she said, "You cannot be serious, Target. Seriously? Really? Like this?" I'm reading word for word what she posted on Twitter. "This was the only Father's Day card that featured a black couple."
Well, that is pretty bad. That's the only one. That's bad.
It is.
The card itself, I actually think, is funny. I will say that.
I thought it was funny.
I think the card's funny.
Hilarious.
And here's the thing: as somebody who works in an area where a lot of people have baby daddies, that doesn't mean that they're not in the picture in the kid's life.
That's what I'm saying.
And that happens a lot. Like there's a lot of people who I work with who have kids to a dad who
they're not married,
and not dating even.
Right.
But the dad's still there. They still have split custody. He still's in the picture.
Right.
So there are baby daddies out there.
And then she makes a big deal out of it with all these hashtags. Our voices really. Hashtag not my narrative. Hashtag how about husband. Hashtag how about love. Hashtag how about just dad. Well, you know what? Those cards already exist. They already have cards like that. They didn't have a baby daddy's card, which I really love. When I told Howie about it, because he didn't know about this, when I told him, he said, "Well, shit, I want one." He wanted one. So American Greetings issued an apology on Twitter explaining the company mistakenly thought that the card would come across as playful and not offensive, which I agree. I thought that would be playful. And they sent Twitter to everyone saying, "Thank you for raising this concern and bringing it to our attention. This card was intended to be a playful husband card, but we have notified the product
why would it be
team."
for a husband? To me, it's for a baby daddy. It's for somebody who is not the husband.
Right,
it's
because
not
they
the
have
boyfriend.
cards that say "for my husband."
How many cards? How many cards do husbands need? There are more than enough cards, but there are 0 cards for baby daddies. There you go.
And let's argue about this. People. Let's argue about this because we got people.
We got people commenting. You've got a shout out, I see.
Right, we got a shout out. What do y'all think about this? We really want to know about this because we got American Greeting apologizing for this, and they're notifying the product team that they missed the mark on that, and they are notifying all the vendors to remove the cards from the targets nationwide, which I don't think is that is it really that
crazy.
necessary?
I don't think it's necessary. Yeah. I think the card is necessary for people who are baby daddies.
Right. I got a lot of friends who
are baby
sugar
daddies. Why don't sugar daddies have any cards?
Oh man, I bet you if they make that card, nobody's going to raise a stink about it.
So here's the thing. I do see the point that it's unfortunate that is the only card with an African American on it. I think that's a little disappointing.
Well,
because there are black daddies too.
Right, there's black daddies, there's white daddies, there's all kind of daddies from all different cultures and races that have children that didn't marry the mother, that and it's I guess because culturally when we hear baby daddy, we think of a black person.
Well, I think that's because honestly, I don't think. Well, first off, I think there's some racial reasons for that, but also I think that white people don't tend to call someone who isn't living with them a baby daddy.
Right, some people don't.
I've never heard a white person call someone a baby daddy. Well, no, that's not true. I've heard a few people, but
I've heard a few.
I've heard a few.
Rare. Usually they had black baby daddies. The ones who I know. But you're right though. There are some that says like my child's father, my daughter's father, my son's father, stuff like that. Really, for it to raise a stink like this for American Green, I really would. I'm gonna see if I can find it before they pull it.
Yeah.
I want to have one. I'm not even a father that I know of.
But you want a baby daddy card.
I want one. I want one to have because I feel like this is very funny.
If anybody should make it, Wild Card. Have you ever been to Wild Card? Here's a cheap free plug.
I heard of Wild Card.
Business. There's a company in Lawrenceville called Wild Card, and they have cards for everything. And it's an entire store dedicated to cards. They usually don't have anything on the inside, so you can write whatever you want.
Right.
But they have the most creative, crazy cards. I'm not much of a card giver or buyer, but I would definitely get a card from Wild Card.
Okay.
They're so creative. We'll have to go there sometime.
Yeah, we do.
It's across the bridge.
We'll throw an example. Like, what kind of cards do they make?
Everything.
For any kind of occasion.
Any occasion.
Do they say like happy divorce?
They probably would have something like that. That's the type of place that would have that.
No.
See, I come from a really weird family. We don't give cards. Do you give a lot of cards?
Sometimes.
I don't give cards. See, what we do in my family is we have this really fancy wrapping paper that we wrap it with. It's called the bag I bought it in. We tie it in a little bow, and we hand the person the shopping bag that we received it in.
They won't know which store we got it from until they unwrap it a little bit more. Or sometimes it's
right on the bag. It's right on the bag.
Oh, okay. See, I'm thinking like a plastic shopping bag.
It's funny. Well, that's what it is.
I sometimes like to mess with them and make them think that I went to a really nice place. And then, like, what's inside the bag is not where I got it from.
Yeah, okay.
I like to do stuff like that sometimes. That's
the only time we
funny.
wrap is for Christmas time. And even then, I can't bring myself to do it. I get the little gift bags, and I just stick it in there and get some old tissue paper and put it on top.
Okay.
And that's the way I do it.
Well, that's better than buying that throwaway gift wrap. I mean, that paper that they put in the little bags with the handles and stuff.
That's what I'm talking about.
I know, but I'm saying, though, like, you said you use tissues.
Well, not actual blow-your-nose tissues. I mean the fake. They call that stuff tissue as well.
Oh.
Did you ever watch Star Trek?
Which one?
The Next Generation?
Yes.
Did you ever see the episode when Data is opening up a gift? He's opening a gift, and he's opening it up so precisely so that he could save the paper. It's hilarious.
That sounds like something.
It's like a kid. So in the whole media thing, so we've been talking about big shakeups in the Pittsburgh media world with the firing of the sad firing of Rob Rogers, and with the great news about a new alt weekly coming, and we're going to talk with Charlie Deitch at 6:30 in just a few minutes about that. So stay tuned. Another big thing that happened in the Pittsburgh media world this week is, unfortunately, Joe DiNardo passed away. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I did see that.
It just happened. He passed away. Were you a big Joe DiNardo fan? Did you watch his weather forecasts?
I grew up on Joe DiNardo. Yeah, I grew up on him. Didn't he just retire? I wouldn't
be surprised.
Because I could have sworn when he...
Okay, a lot of those people stick around even though they're not on TV anymore.
Right, because when I first saw it on when I first read about it that he passed away, my messed up mind, I'm thinking to myself, I thought he already passed. But I'm like, no, he didn't pass. Something just happened. I think he just retired after. I think that's what he did, because he was with. It was WTAE, right?
Yes, he was with WTAE
for like 40 years
forever.
or something.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it was. I think he just, retired, and then when I heard he passed away, I was just like, oh,
Well, the only experience I ever had with Joe DiNardo was when I was in elementary school, and this just tells you how long he's been in the business. Mm-hmm. He was supposed to come to my elementary school, but he couldn't make it. And we got Sally Wiggins, and it was the first time I met Sally Wiggins. Mm-hmm. And then from then on, like I said, I've mentioned it before, she came to see me in The Music Man. We've had this connection forever because of that one time when Joe DiNardo skipped out. On my elementary school assembly.
What would have happened if Joe had came? You probably still would have met Sally anyway.
Maybe.
Just down the road later.
Maybe. Who knows? The world could have been completely changed.
It was kismet.
So do you think...
It was fate.
Because Jay, I have a real issue with everybody breaking down, sobbing, moaning over celebrities that they never met dying. It's always been an issue.
Yeah, I know. I remember you took...
I can't stand it. But in this case... I actually have the opposite opinion. I can understand, because someone who's on television, especially for that many years, for decades, on the same station, you see these people almost every day.
Yeah.
It's kind of like people who listen to talk radio, especially the daily type of talk radio, where you come in and you listen to that person every day, and you feel like you know them.
Right.
You don't. You don't know me unless you've met me. But people feel like they know you.
Yeah.
Because they see you every day, they get used to you. Mm-hmm. We talked about Data in Star Trek, and he always referred to his friends as people who his circuits became accustomed to seeing.
Yeah.
And Joe DiNardo would have been one of those people because you see him every day. So I can appreciate...
I never got to meet Joe DiNardo. I have met a couple people, but I don't remember which news channel station that they're with. But I've met like Sheldon Ingram.
Okay.
And I always thought he was really cool. I met Andrew Stockey.
Yeah.
Those were really cool people. So if I had heard that something happened to them,
I was invited onto a lot of these shows.
Yeah, but if I had ever heard that something happened to him, I probably would have been like, oh.
I think even if you've never met these people in person, seeing them on TV every day or listening to them on TV every day, I think that makes a difference.
Well, okay.
It's not like...
how did you feel about local legend Mr. Rogers?
I think that's...
What'd you think about him when he passed?
Sad. I think I can understand why somebody who used to see him every day... I guess my big thing is you've got a celebrity who... you've never met on a grand scheme. You've seen them in a few movies, and then you pretend like your world is shattered. And Grandma, like I always say, Grandma Croaks doesn't get a Facebook status. Robin Williams dies, and you change your profile picture. It always seemed a little weird to me. But I feel like on the local level, somebody that you see 5 days a week, and you see them in real time. It's not like you're just seeing them in some perfectly produced film.
Okay.
That somebody spent a year or more putting together.
Yeah.
This is somebody who you see every day. They're live. You see them make their mistakes over the years. You hear their you hear their errors. You see all of that.
Yeah.
You see them out in the community. Maybe you've met them a few times. You've actually met them because they live here in the city.
Right.
To me, that makes such a difference. That's such a big difference than some celebrity that you've never met. Somebody who you've only seen a few times in movies. I just don't imagine. I can't imagine how you can... unless you're in that particular field, how you can say that you're that emotionally ruined.
I will say that I got emotional when Michael Jackson passed. I will say that one really hit me because I remember when it happened.
Did it hit you more than a family member that passed?
You know what? It's kind of messed up to say it like this. It's messed up to say it like this, but. I mean, because my family lives 4 hours away. I don't get to see my family that much. But Michael Jackson was always on my screen. Okay. And I listened to his music all the time. He's one of my is still one of my favorite performers. So when I heard he died, like actually my cousin sent me a text and she said Michael died. And I'm in like a denial. I don't know what she's talking about. I'm like, Michael who? And she's like, Michael Jackson. I'm like, Michael Jackson who? Like, is it like a family member, a cousin?
Something
I don't
like
know
that.
about. And she said, no, the Michael Jackson. And I was like, oh.
Well, it's shocking, and I can understand
Yeah.
people being shocked when somebody dies.
Right, because everybody died that week. If for those of y'all who remember, okay, 2 days before Michael died, Ed McMahon passed away. And that was a big thing. Ed McMahon from Star Search and what was he, the hype man for Johnny Carson? You know, here's Johnny and hi-oh and all that stuff.
Away.
Yeah, he passed away. Then the next day, what was it, her name? Farrah Fawcett.
Yeah, I remember.
She passed away, but we knew she was dying, though, because she, kept, filming it and stuff, and we watched her deteriorate for like 3 months, so we saw that coming. But that was on the news for like a day. But then as soon as Michael died, nobody gave a damn about Farrah. Nobody gave a damn about Ed McMahon. It was about Michael all month long.
Michael motorcycle.
Oh God, it was emotional. And some of y'all look at that.
Cinnamon
said
upset.
I got emotional for Michael and Prince.
She's commenting on the Facebook live feed. You can comment too, right on Facebook at River Talk PGH. You can tweet us as well at River Talk PGH or at Coop Troop Comedy, or you can give us a text message at 412-407-2PGH. That's 412-407-2744. Let us know how you felt about the passing of Joe DiNardo. Who's the number one local celebrity that you would be most upset with if they had passed? Let us know, and then also let us know if you plan to stay subscribed to the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Is the firing of Rob Rogers something that has changed your mind with your subscription? Do you feel trapped because it is the only print daily paper, a big paper here in the city of Pittsburgh? Please let us know. That's 412-407-2PGH. This is Jay Cooper. I'm Brian Crawford. This is River Talk. This is the River's Edge Radio Network. And right now, I am happy to introduce to the show, we have Mr. Charlie Deitch, who is back in studio, and you are here with a big announcement for us.
I am. I feel like I made a big announcement every day since I got canned.
Fired, yeah.
Right, since I got canned by the city paper.
The first editorialist to get canned in the recent days.
Right. Yeah. It's I actually there was a rally for Rob Rogers on this past Sunday, and I got to speak there, and it was it was a little emotional because you've got people who are financially secure, making decisions based on whatever their personal politics are, for people who maybe aren't as financially secure and who are out there doing the work for your company, and to just, especially for people Rob had been there 25 years. And, it's just, it's a strange situation when it happens, especially somebody that you respect, somebody that, I would, if you would have asked me, name a famous PG person who would, or a well-known PG person who would get fired, I'd have said anyone before I would have said Rob Rogers. I mean, he's nationally known. He's nationally syndicated. I mean, he's probably the best, if not one of the best, political cartoonist, satirist in the country.
Yeah, it really shocked me. And I had said earlier in today's program, I would respect the Post-Gazette more if they were to keep him on despite political differences, because I always felt, and I said this on the show, as somebody who, over the years, I've become more progressive and have leaned more left, but I would love to have a conservative talker on this network as a counterbalance to some of the other perspectives. I feel a network or a media company that embraces multiple points of views is going to be a stronger company in the long run.
Right, and the funny thing about the Post-Gazette is it's probably been a good 2 years or so when we've kind of seen the movement right of that editorial page. It all started for me, I think, when the column ran, I think it was around 2014, 2015. But it was the column done by a right-leaning columnist who wrote, Caitlyn Jenner is still a mister. And it was one of the most disgusting, but it's one of those childish sort of, well, you were born with a, and so you're a man, kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. And that was step one, and it has just gone completely downhill since then. And at some point, they at least tried to pretend that it wasn't happening, that, these are just diverse voices. Don't we need all voices? And clearly they don't, because, to have 9 cartoons or whatever it was turned away by, again, one of the greatest cartoonist satirists in the country, it doesn't make sense. And we've all seen at least some of those cartoons. They're fantastic. I mean, there was the Ambien one with the Ku Klux Klan member is by far that was incredible. It was right after the Roseanne thing. It was perfectly timed, and that's what he's always been. So his comics have always been just at the right time and just the right. He knows just what to say at the right time. And they clearly, when they brought in this guy Keith Burris from Toledo, they clearly sent a message that the editorial page was going farther right, and they're doing that at the expense of a lot of great journalists who are gonna suffer because of people canceling their subscriptions and so forth.
Do you think that this is the right time for your new endeavor, Pittsburgh Current, which is going to be launching soon? You're in the works.
Yes.
I feel like this could be the perfect time because as the Post-Gazette becomes more conservative, as the city paper takes that direction as well, the city, and this is evident through the local primaries that we had and the Democratic primaries, it's moving much further to the left.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, it's not even, in Pittsburgh, when I moved back here in 2000 or so, it was fun for me when I started covering city council to figure, okay, everyone on city council is a Democrat. It was fun for me to figure out, okay, if we were anywhere else in America, who would the Republicans be? It would be because, they were clearly Democrats just to get elected in the city of Pittsburgh. And so, but now we're seeing long-time entrenched Democrats, middle of the road / probably a little left or a little right-leaning Democrats losing their jobs to political
socialists.
Yeah, to socialists, to political neophytes who are just like, this is getting ridiculous, and we have to do something about this. And so, I do think that it's the perfect time for us. And honestly, the response has been incredible since we launched our Kickstarter on Monday. We're almost halfway there, and it's been 4 days.
What's the goal?
The goal is 15,000, and of course, I would have loved to ask for like 1.4 million and just go right after them head on, just like, hey, let's go week to week. And but we've got some people behind us. We've got a lot of great people who are working on what we like to call deferred payment plans, and they're laying away their work with us, and so. But people just believe what we're doing. They believe it's time for what we're doing, and a lot of people have just been fantastic.
So explain what Pittsburgh Current is. We know it's a new alt weekly, but how is it going to be set up? What's the goals? What are some of the short-term and long-term plans for this paper?
So one of the things that I've been asked the most is why are you sticking with a print publication? Why not just go completely online? And with 2 reasons. Number one is I think that I don't think print is dead. I think that the way print has been done in the past is dead. I think that there's been and I've said this a couple of times, there's been a thinning of the herd of newspapers that were overextended and with huge overhead, propped up by family. Exactly. And even they have to eventually stop publishing their print, and so but I feel like print has its place, and I think a lot of millennials are starting to see that. A lot of younger folks are starting to see that as a way to sort of ingest their news and their information a little slower at a more leisurely pace, and that's why one of the hallmarks of an alt weekly has always been its long form reporting. And one thing the city paper did, and I admit we didn't have a choice because of the market. This is years ago. We got rid of our long form stories. Our deep, in-depth stories that we would work on for a couple of months or several weeks, and they'd be 4,000 words, 5,000 words. I once wrote a piece on Iron City that was 9,500 words. It was like the glory days of long weekends. Yeah, that's a lot of beer. It's a lot of bad beer. But we're bringing that back to the paper.
Cool.
We're going to bring long form journalism, in-depth reporting back into the paper, because I love long form journalism and I read a ton online, particularly sports stuff. Sports long form online is great, but long form journalism that that cover story. It's just like why magazines are so successful with it. It's like it's a horizontal proposition. It's like turning the page and sort of getting in the story instead of just scrolling up and seeing it sort of. You see it sort of. Maybe I'm over dramatizing the loveliness of long form in print, but
no, I get it.
Yeah,
I didn't know that's what it was called, but yeah,
it's listen to me. I'm laying down some love for print journalism, but also here in Pittsburgh, it's also I think that there's a bit of legitimacy, especially with older. Look, we're going. I know that to succeed, we have to attract a younger audience, and we're going to try and do some things. We're going to do some things and hope they work. But there are also older readers. I can't tell you how many folks have reached out to me who are older Pittsburghers in their 60s, 70s, and they were upset at what happened, and they were ticked about what happened, and they've read our paper for years. I've had several people who corresponded with me at the city paper for a long time who were older, and one woman called up, and I forget where, but she said she lived in a retirement community, and she said, "You're going to have to send them back out here. They keep taking the box away because people keep reading this. People keep reading the back of the book and getting excited. So where our sex ads were and our Dan Savage content was, and so." So I think that there's some legitimacy to that. However, print is not cheap, and so that's why to start, we're going to start as of Monday. We're going to launch online Monday.
Yes.
And our goal is to launch. To have a minimum of 2 to 3 news stories a day, and then we'll as things break throughout the day, we'll cover that as well. And we plan on covering. Not like a lot of people they cover online. They use online sort of like it's a blog. It's just like something extra that happened in between the cycle. Mm-hmm. We're going to be out there doing real reporting. One of the places is the art scene. We're going to be covering.
That's great because that's something that's missing in all of the papers at this point.
Right, and so we're not just. We're going to hit it hard in our print issue, of course, but we're going to hit our arts coverage on a daily basis, and we're going to. For example, at the beginning, we're going to be monthly. So you're going to read a preview of an upcoming play in the print issue, and then we're going to say, hey, go online and read the review. And so it's really going to be an interactive product. And the challenge certainly is finding something for now that has a shelf life of a month. And we're doing that. The other thing we're bringing back, the one thing that I heard as editor was, where the hell are the listings? Why can't I, so we're bringing listings back to the Pittsburgh Current.
That's great.
The people who read the paper, a lot of them do it because they don't know how to, get events off their phone or, submit events. So we're going to have event listings in the paper. We've got some other great features that we're going to probably talk a little bit more about in the coming weeks online, and then on July 11th, when we debut the first issue, that is a Wednesday, by the way.
Will there be a comedy section?
We plan on covering comedy, as I've always felt, and I think we've done. No, I don't work there anymore, so I don't know what they do.
Yeah.
But local comedy is great. In fact, we are having some great comedians stepped up to do. They're throwing a fundraiser for us on June 28th. Featuring Mike Wasaki, Dave Bracey, Tyler Kendrick, Samantha Bentley, and Lorenzo De Silvio. We're gonna
all good comedians.
Thank you. Yeah,
all good.
It's
7:30 p.m. at the Hard Rock.
The Hard Rock. Yeah. No,
very nice.
And it's the Hard. The Hard Rock is donating the space. The Hard Rock is it's people are behind us. And that's the great feeling. Whether it's I don't know if they would want their names mentioned, but I obviously on the Kickstarter I can see who's given. Sure. And the a shout out. Well, you know what? A shout out to the folks at the restaurant Spork, because they the people there who were working last night sent us money, and then later, I don't know if it was after the tips got better, they sent us more money. So that's the kind of things that we're getting, and it's just the outpouring of support has been great. And there are some people too that want more information on what we're doing, and we promise, we're going to be completely upfront about how we plan to proceed. But it's going to be a competitive industry, because I've been asked many times. They're asking me, do you think 2 alt weeklies can survive in this city? And my answer is no. There is no possible way. Back in 2001, we had the same situations. When City Paper bought out in Pittsburgh News Weekly, of which I was a staff writer, I had just left maybe 3 weeks before the buyout. And, it's just, there's only so much to go around in the market. And that was in the glory days of alt weeklies when, papers were printing, in the 70s and 80s pages. And, and there was a whole lot of, when the death of record stores were really bad for alt weeklies. And,
really, why is that?
They new releases, we would get advertisements. Tower Records would just, a National Record Mark, they would take out full pages or 2 full page spreads of everything that was on sale or all the new releases that were out. Some of my old in Pittsburghs, if I'm going back through when I was fired and I had to get my resume together, I was looking at some of those old ones and I saw that, that just forgot about how prominent they were. I mean, they were buying premium ad space back then. And so, but there are industries out there who I think are still looking for an outlet like an alt weekly. And again, I know we're only an alt monthly as of now, but I think that people are going to find that our online content, I think, qualifies us, as an alt weekly because we're, it's a model that I've been in it since 2000, except for a couple of years in the middle. But it's in my opinion, it's the best form of journalism that we have because it's accurate, it's honest, and not that there's a side to take, but and I don't know if we talked about this last time, but if there are 2 sides to every story, but if one of those sides is completely full of crap, it's the responsibility of the journalist to put the context in to say, hey, this is crap.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I and that's where the editorials come into play. Is that's where you have the voice to really give some commentary on what you're talking about, and I think that's important. And I think the use of online mixing it in with the print makes a lot of sense. I know what we do here with the network is we have the 24-hour stream. We have certain shows that will air in the mornings on that. And then we have separate independent interviews that we just don't have time to fit into the hour schedule. So then we'll put those and we'll separate them and push them out, and we're able to reach a lot more people that way. So I think it's great to mix things in like that. Yeah,
and we have so many. I mean, that's the great thing when you tape interviews, especially, and when we interview comedians. I mean, I interviewed Bill Burr 2 months ago, and I had so much stuff on my tape that I was just in my head. I was going to do a longer, and it was just so much great stuff. And so, but those kinds of things, our intention is those kinds of things we're going to put online. We are going to podcast, and we're still working on the logistics of that. Mm-hmm. We are going to find interesting / useful ways to use video. I mean, even if it's just for entertainment. And we're developing a social media strategy that is both informative, and fun. I mean, it's fine to put, whatever up on your Snapchat, but we're looking to make these platforms that, we think that are going to attract younger consumers, younger readers, because I mean, that's a lot, that's where they're reading. And so, we're not going to fill that with anything. We're going to really take a stab at presenting news in those formats. And so,
one of the things that I really like about a physical paper, you were mentioning that concept, is I feel like it's easier to browse through that than it is online. I feel like things are able to pop out at you more. Things grab your attention in a different way. And it's so much more comfortable to sit through and read the paper. So I think that's a great direction. And I think you're being savvy by keeping that online presence and being able to kind of work things together.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. That's the problem. The thing, and that's where a lot of newspapers had their issues. Where online came, number one, they didn't realize what hit them, and they were way late to the game. And then when they did start trying things, it was all the wrong things. And honestly, and I myself included, when I was a city paper, we had a lot of catching up to do when I took over as editor. And even then, I probably never really got us, got us as close as we could, but it's just when you're late to that game, it's hard to catch up. Mm-hmm. And, so that's why I think starting fresh, we're trying to come out with a strategy right away that we think is going to work.
Do you have people who are interested in sponsoring you now? Like, do you have a list of sponsors that are really willing to go with you day one and jump right on board?
Yeah, we have some people who have had some, who have, that we're talking to advertisers and we're talking to, we're selling, and that's one of the things that people have asked, are you going to have advertisers? I mean, because our goal is to be influence free. And my answer to that is yes. I mean, ideally I would love for this to be a nonprofit, because that's the one way that you can ensure, that no one is going to be able to say that you're influenced in some way. But in this instance, it all comes down to who's at the helm. And honestly, I've been at the helm, I've been an editor, but I've never truly been in charge. And so there was always somebody above me that had the ultimate say. But in this venture, I'm the ultimate say. And I think that I showed by refusing to stop covering a particular politician or particular issues. And I put my job on the line, and I lost, but that wasn't a choice for me. I'd do it again. I would do the exact same thing again, even knowing that it was going to be the same outcome. And so that's what somebody said. How did you make that choice? And I said, it wasn't a choice. And so,
sure.
And I think a lot of journalists would have done the same thing in my place. I really do, because it's, look, we don't take a Hippocratic oath or anything. We're not, but we're taught a code of ethics. We're taught ethics, both in college and then as you work through daily newspapers and you work through different places. You learn from old journalists. That's the one thing that you learn, is you learn about ethics and integrity. And without that, without your name, you don't have anything. And this was kind of started off that. I got a lot of good notice because of what happened. A lot of positive, outpouring about what happened. Mm-hmm. And a week or two after I left, City Paper's marketing director, Bethany Rue, she left. It's not my story to tell, but she'll be telling it on our Facebook page here in the coming week or so of why she left. And it was probably a week after she walked out, and we had breakfast, and it was 2 weeks ago today that we had breakfast, and I said, so this is what I'm thinking. And she's one of the best marketing people that I've ever worked with, and she's done this for large corporations, and so she knows a lot of people in town, a lot of connections, and she knows how to get stuff done and to keep me on task. And so I'm getting a lot of the face time on this and a lot of the recognition, but this wouldn't be anywhere without Bethany. I mean, we've got along very well at the City Paper, but it's just our friendship has just really increased since we've started working together. And I think it's actually her attitude that has made me realize this is really going to happen. So,
yeah, that's very important to have a good team behind you. You mentioned ads, and without ads, as if you're a for-profit company, the company will die. And if your company dies, the only place you'd want to take it is Hahn Funeral Home, the only family-owned funeral home in Millville.
He did it again.
Specializes in green burials. Here with Charlie Deitch of Pittsburgh Current.
Yes.
Now, and I want to ask, are you nervous? Because it is a big endeavor. It's a big undertaking.
No, I'm scared shitless. Are we allowed to say that?
Yeah.
I'm terrified, but I'm also excited. The biggest thing has been, we're doing this on a quick turnaround because of an opportunity that I can't talk about, that we'll be talking about a little more next week. And so we thought it was the July 11th date allowed us a couple of opportunities that we couldn't pass up. So we decided to move forward early. But we've got a lot. So we've been working on the logistics of, I'm incorporated, which I never thought is something I never thought I would say, and so there's so many things to putting a company structure in place, even one that is sort of as loosely assembled as ours is at the moment, getting stronger every day, of course. And that stuff is what's been scaring me the most. And like I said, Bethany's been there that's sort of her bailiwick. So she's been really, really helpful with that. But at the end of the day, I've got to start cranking copy, and that's what I'm starting, this week and then into the coming weeks. That's what I'm going to be doing. And I've gotten a few writers already on board. Mike Wasaki, who I mentioned earlier, I brought Mike on as a sports columnist at City Paper, and he hasn't written anything in a while, and so. In fact, I just got the first draft of Mike's column. It's really good, and we're going to have it online on Monday. It'll debut on Monday.
Great.
Yeah, and We're also bringing political activist and former lieutenant governor candidate Ariana Behringer. She's coming on as a columnist as well to sort of discuss, what's broken in politics and her efforts to get more women involved in politics, get more minorities involved in politics. And she's really, really, she's great. And so I met her. We partnered with an organization City Paper did last year for a candidates forum, and I met her there. And I had written an editorial praising her for stepping up and stepping out of the lieutenant governor's race and calling it, and giving the reason. It's because, you just can't compete if you don't have, either huge party support or huge family money. And so, someone I really admire and I'm glad to have on our team. Kim Lyons, former Post-Gazette staff writer. Kim is with us. She's really helping me through this sort of transition. So we're gonna. She's definitely on board she's on board for the launch. Former City Paper news editor Rebecca Addison she's freelancing now, but she's on now. She's got probably our first 2 cover stories, and so we're excited to have her on board. And it's been great. We're looking for new writers and new voices. I mean, I know a lot of writers in Pittsburgh. I know a lot of photographers in Pittsburgh, and we're going to use a lot of those folks. But we're also looking for new voices. Today I hired our first 2 staff writers. They're Amanda Reed and Haley Frederick, recent graduates of the University of Pittsburgh. However, they interned with us at City Paper last year, and were really impressive. So they I think are going to be the voice in my head that is like, hey, who the hell's going to read this under the age of like 50 or whatever? So they're there, and they're great writers, great reporters, and I look forward to working with them and bringing them along. So it's we're giving. This is kind of my big chance. In my mid 40s, and I want to be a chance for everybody to get in there and get a voice, and that's what we're going to be. We're going to be a diverse voice, and get as many opinions out there as we can.
PittsburghCurrent.com. You can visit the Facebook page at PGH Current, and of course you can also stop out June 28th, 7:30 p.m. at the Hard Rock Cafe for the comedy show if you want to support the cause. That's Pittsburgh Current. And again, you can check out the Facebook page for updates on the Kickstarter and find out how you can get involved. Charlie, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much.
Appreciate it,
and I look
guys.
forward to seeing all of the progress.
Thank you.
Got the Hood Rat of the Week, and then we'll wrap up today's show.
Oh, yeah.
Got Jaye Cooper with the Hood Rat of the Week. What do we have here, Jay?
Hold up. Now I got to hear the music.
Keeping Hillary Clinton alive.
Yes.
We came, you saw, you died.
All right, what do we have?
A man who thought he was having a bad reaction to methamphetamine was asking deputies in Florida to test the drug, saying that he wanted to press charges against his drug dealer.
Smart.
Yeah. This goes out to my Hood Rat of the Week, who is Douglas Peter Kelly, 49 years old, of Hawthorne in Putnam County, Florida. Who told the detectives from the sheriff's office that he had a violent reaction after smoking meth that he purchased a week earlier, and that he wanted investigators to take a look at the product. Now Kelly said that he believed that because of the violent reaction he had smoked, from the drug, he was sold the wrong narcotic.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So he told detectives in the drug unit that he wanted the substance tested because he wanted to press charges on the person who sold him the wrong narcotic.
Well, I think he's got a fair case.
You know what?
Maybe they could both go
in
to jail
hindsight, it
together.
does sound pretty good. So detectives, they obliged Kelly's request, telling him to come on down to the sheriff's office. Then drove down to the facility, handed investigators a clear crystal-like substance wrapped in aluminum foil that later tested for meth. He was charged with possession of methamphetamine and walked next door to the Putnam County Jail.
But did he get his justice with the dealer? That's the real question here.
There has been no discussion yet about that. But he is he was put in jail on a $5,000 bail, and he was released this past Wednesday. So, yeah. I've just found that very interesting. That reminds me of what I was telling you earlier before we went on about that lady from Cops. You probably remember that episode from Cops. That lady who called the cops because somebody she tried to buy crack.
Right.
But it wasn't crack, and she said that, I want you to find this person and I want my $20 back, or I want my crack.
Right.
I mean, that was the funniest shit ever. I swear to God. So yeah, Douglas Kelly, I had to make you my hood rat of the week because that's beyond the norm, and I love it.
That's fantastic.
I didn't even know you smoked. Well, I don't know anything about drugs, but I didn't even know you smoked meth. I thought it was something you snorted. I was watching Breaking Bad, and I thought they were snorting it.
I think you can do a bunch of things with it. I don't know. Make it different ways.
It's ridiculous, the things people smoke and shove up their nose. I don't know.
Well, that's the one thing. Like shoving things up your nose. Like that. How can that doesn't sound like a good idea.
No.
That's the one thing I never understood.
I guess why
I get the people who smoke things.
Right.
People have smoked things forever.
Because if you smoke something,
things,
it comes to you slowly.
Maybe
Whereas if you take something up your nose, it's going straight to the brain.
I don't even think about it that way. As somebody who has allergies,
they're thinking it like that.
And has suffered from allergies my whole life.
They're thinking about it. They want that quick high.
The last thing I want is to sniff something up my nose.
Yeah.
But then again, I can't even smell anything, so maybe that's part of it. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't make any sense. And I've seen people that snorted cocaine, and I'm just like, man, you got to know that's hanging out your nose, man. I mean, we've all seen people like that, and
I love it now.
I just want to poke at it and just be like, man, you got a booger sugar just hanging off your
Coke booger. Absolutely.
Yes.
People try to get me to do stuff now, and I just look at them, and I'm like, look, dude, I'm 31 years old. If I haven't tried it by now, is it really that important that I try it?
I feel like people should not go into drugs late in life. Get it done early.
Experiment early, and if you didn't miss it, like people tell me, oh, but you'll be so much more creative. I'm already the most creative person in radio. I tell live stories on air. I do all sorts of crazy things.
There you go.
I haven't needed drugs yet to make myself a creative individual. I don't feel like it's going to make a difference. Maybe if you're lacking that skill.
I will say I have smoked.
Well,
weed smokers. Shout out to the weed smokers out there. Even though I haven't done it,
hey, we're not in
a
Pittsburgh
long time.
I don't know. If
I'm just saying.
I don't know if it's decriminalized here, man.
Once a weed head, always a weed head. That's all I'm just throwing out there. That's all I'm saying.
It's funny. I never really tried it until I was way late in life. So I started out when I was younger. My dad smoked 4 packs of cigarettes a day. My grandfather died from smoking 4 packs a day.
Damn.
Everybody in my family smoked, so I didn't smoke anything. And it wasn't until college that I had my first cigar. Mm-hmm. I never even tried weed until like a couple of years ago.
Okay. How did you feel when you took it?
I liked smoking cigars better, I'll be honest. So that's just my personal taste.
Interesting.
But, if someone's passing it around, I don't mind.
You know
sharing,
what? I tried out that cigar shop over in the South Side. They got pretty good cigars. I wish I knew their names so I can give them a shout out. But,
no, I wish you didn't.
But no, because they need a sponsor.
They gotta pay. Yeah, you got to pay.
Sorry.
Cigar shop. I already gave one free plug out today to the card company. We don't need to give out any more.
I know, right?
Jay, what do you have coming up? You've got a big event coming up on the horizon.
Yes. Well, okay. Well, we'll start with tonight. Tonight we're doing the Comedy Sauce Summer Special. That's going on all summer. I'm on the first one with Alex Homyak and Sean Collier.
Okay.
Yeah. So and a couple other comedians and stuff. So that's going down tonight at the Pleasure Bar on Liberty Avenue in Bloomfield. That starts at 9:00 tonight. It's a free show. Come out to that. But the one that I really want to press though is the one that's tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, me and Howie D. Mack are bringing our second installment of the Deadbeat Daddies versus Baby Mamas pre-Father's Day comedy show.
So if you got one of those cards, bring it down.
Yes, please bring it down. Hey, we've been selling tickets like crazy and stuff. We still have tickets available. You can also go online, go on the Facebook page On Our Way with Howie and Jaye, and you can see our event page and all that information and stuff. We got great comedians, man. We got Nakia Tanisha, aka #hoodrat in recovery. We got Christina McNeese, the Man Eater. We got David the Frog Bay, our headliner. One Eye, who you've seen before, and he always kills every single time and stuff. So, yeah, get your $10 tickets. Come out tomorrow. Come see us. It's going to be a hell of a time, man. Hey, because it's Father's Day weekend, what better way than to bring people to the show, all right? Bring your boyfriend, bring your husband, bring your father, your stepfather, your godfather, your granddaddy, your baby daddy. Bring all your baby daddies, ladies. It don't matter. Hell, like I said, ladies, y'all can hook up with, go all together. Like, how a lot of baby mamas got children with the same guy and stuff. So they can just, leave them at home to watch the kids, and the baby mamas can all come out. Hey, it really doesn't matter. I don't give a damn. Y'all just need to come out. It's going to be a hell of a show. Deadbeat Daddies versus Baby Mamas. Pre-Father's Day comedy show. Club Cafe in Southside, 10 p.m.
Only $10, right? That's
Only 10. Only 10. You can't beat that.
Yeah, $10. That's a great deal.
Yes.
So
be there.
Yeah,
be
check
there.
that out. That's fantastic. $10,
Yes.
Club Cafe, and it's this Saturday, correct?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So
Saturday night, 10 p.m. Club Cafe Southside. Y'all know where that's at. Right around the corner from Jack's.
Do not miss that.
That's right.
So this July 3rd, this is just breaking news, just found out about it today. I'm going to be hosting the open mic at Howard's Pub again.
Ooh,
so you can
okay.
check that out. Last time was a great time. We actually
did have fun there.
Well, we were there for a show, but I
was there for the
had
show,
hosted an open
you
mic
did the mic.
previously.
Okay.
It was my celebration to returning to daylight when I finally got off of the night turns shift.
Okay.
And finally started getting some sleep. So we told some sleeping stories. This time, I don't know. What can we do this time? This time maybe I could tell some stories about some road rage in the city of Pittsburgh as a former delivery driver.
Oh, you can definitely do that. Yeah, that's right. You used to deliver
plants for plants
flowers back in the day. I remember that.
It was a good time. And it was really difficult because
you
you're
used
there.
to drive the company van. Well, we can talk about it now because you don't work there no more. So.
You were there in a giant truck, and you had the big name of the company plastered on the side with the phone number, so you couldn't do anything. But people were such assholes and such idiots out on the road, so you had this built-up rage, and then as soon as you would deliver the company vehicle, you're just slamming on the horn. Like, I actually wore my horn out once.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was pretty intense. So come on out to that. That's going to be July 3rd, the day before the 4th of July, so you do not want to miss that. That's going to be at Howard's Pub, and that will start, we'll probably start taking names at 7 p.m., and the music would start at 8, so definitely tune into that. But this Saturday, that's the big one. Do not miss it. 10 p.m. at Club Cafe. What's the name of the show again? One more time, because you're going to say it better than me.
The Deadbeat Daddies versus Baby Mamas Pre-Father's Day Comedy Show. This Saturday, 10 p.m., Club Cafe in Southside. $10 at the door.
Do not miss it.
Do not miss it. And shout out to everybody who's been watching on Facebook Live, man. Shout out to all of you. Mike, Cinnamon, Chris, all of you.
And if you missed the beginning of the show, don't forget you can listen tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., on the live stream at riversedgepgh.com. Thanks to Charlie of PittsburghCurrent.com, the new Alt Weekly, for coming in and sharing the information with us. For Jay Cooper, I am Brian Crawford. This is River Talk. This is the River's Edge Radio Network, Pittsburgh's voice for local music, streaming the best in local music 24 hours a day at riversedgepgh.com and on your TuneIn radio app. I'm Brian Crawford. I'll be back. I won't be back Sunday. Got a guest host in. Ian Insect will be filling in for me Sunday night. 7 p.m. right here. I'll be back next Friday at riversedgepgh.com for River Talk on the River's Edge Radio Network.
Later, bitches.